I found out that the MILF I've been sleeping with for months is my coworker's mom. This happened literally an hour ago. Lately, I'm 25. I'd been seeing an older woman, she's 44. We started hooking up a few months back. I was swiping Tinder trying to find someone to bang, ended up on a very attractive not-so-young woman, and swiped right because, that's every guy's dream, plus getting to rail a MILF. A few days pass and I get a notification that I've got a new match. I open the app and it's that same awesome MILF I'd been crushing on. We started chatting and flirting and it was going really well. Out of nowhere, she texts, "I don't really understand how this app works. Do people meet up and go bang right away, or do they ask for a date first?" I was drinking coffee and it instantly shot out my nose. This was my chance. I replied that people usually rush and then go straight to it, but I'm down for whatever. She said, "Perfect, because I can't stand formalities." I almost crapped myself from nerves. She sent me her address, said she was free on Friday, and asked me to bring wine. The rest of that week I was a wreck. I couldn't screw this up. Friday came. I showed up with wine and she looked insanely sexy. In person she was even better. We chatted about music, travel, and other stuff, mostly avoiding personal details. Just a simple convo about art and culture. A few glasses of wine later, we were going at it like rabbits on her living room floor. A little later, I dipped, feeling like the king of the universe, and went to sleep. Next day, she texted me that she had a great time, that the meetup made her feel young again, blah, blah, blah. She said she's off every Friday and Saturday, and that next week we should do the same thing. This went on for about 3 months. We met once or twice a week, went at it like animals, then went our separate ways until one of us wanted a repeat. Sounds perfect, right? Nope. Yesterday I texted her that I had today off and asked if she wanted to meet, and she replied that her son was taking her to lunch and I could come by at 3 p.m. She had mentioned she had a son but didn't share anymore, and I didn't feel like asking. At 3 Mars, I was almost at her house when she texted she'd be late. No big deal. I parked on the street and waited in my car since her car wasn't at the house yet. I was sitting there listening to the radio when a strangely familiar SUV pulled up to the driveway. I glanced at it and instantly knew where I'd seen it. My coworker, he's 23, jumped out of the driver's seat, walked around the car, kissed my MILF on the cheek at the passenger door, hugged her, then hopped back in. My jaw dropped. Dude backed out of the driveway while I was fucking sitting in my car like a deer in headlights in full view. He turned and was literally 10 feet from my car. He stared right at me. I went red. I felt like I was going to puke. This is the guy I work with every day, and I consider him a friend. I trained him when he joined our company, and the kicker is, I had told him in detail about this older woman, and he gave me massive props saying it was his dream. He stopped next to me. You could tell he was confused. He asked what I was doing there and said how funny it was that we ran into each other. I panicked hard, started stammering, and pretended I had the wrong street and was trying to find my cousin's house. He looked at me skeptically but seemed to buy it. The whole time his mom was standing there watching us through the curtains. He pointed me where to go and I turned at the corner. Then as soon as he left, I came back. Obviously, I went into her house and told her what was up. We sat in silence for a bit, then I left. No boom boom today. I'm freaking out. I don't see a scenario where he doesn't figure it out. He's gonna realize that the devilish MILF I've been railing and telling him about is actually his mom. Shit. I've already called in sick for tomorrow because I won't be able to look him in the eye. If anything happens, I'll update. Pray for my soul, Reddit. She just texted me and said we should tell him everything and confess because it's the right thing to do. What the hell, dude? How am I supposed to explain to her that I told her son in detail about our escapades, including the time I dripped candle wax on her chocolate starfish? Yeah, she's wild. She's doubling down, wants to tell him everything even after I told her the explicit details I've shared since we started seeing each other. What's wrong with this woman? I'm seriously considering quitting my job. I know her son well. He'll want to kill me. She keeps insisting he's an adult and should understand his mom is a person with the same desires as anyone else. That's not an argument, for fuck's sake. I'm fucked, guys. She said that regardless of what I say, she's telling him tomorrow because she can't live with the guilt and deception. Said she won't answer my calls and there's no point coming over because she won't be home. She's out somewhere. I'm screwed. I'll keep sharing info. Let my headstone read, "Died doing what he loved most." Well, boys, no turning back. His mother pulled the trigger and told him everything. I don't even know what to say. He called me and said this is super weird shit. He's shocked, and he isn't mad at me because he knows neither of us had any clue. He also asked if the woman I'd been telling him about all this time was her, and I said yes. Then he decided to go further down the slippery slope and asked, "And all that crazy shit you told me? That was her too?" RIP, brother. Of course, I just laughed it off and changed the subject. "You've had enough today, my son." He also said he's going to look for a new job and already told management he's giving 2 weeks' notice and leaving. Said it would be weird to keep working together. Damn, it really hit him. His mother's an idiot and I feel like a scumbag. He also said he filed for a transfer to another department so we won't be in the same building until he leaves. God. In a bit, I'll drop by his mom's and tell her. We can't keep seeing each other. Because of her, he lost a job, a friend, and now he's got a solid reason to see a therapist. We probably could have BS'd our way out and none of this would have happened. Can't believe I made her own son quit his job. Damn. Thanks, Reddit. I gave my entire family genealogy DNA testing and ruined Christmas. Earlier this year, a company had a sale on test kits. I thought they'd be a great gift idea, so I bought 6 for Christmas. Today, we had a family gathering for our Christmas gift exchange, and I gave a kit to my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters. As soon as everyone opened their gifts at the same time, my mom started panicking. She said she didn't want us to take them because they have dangerous chemicals in them. We explained that there weren't any chemicals, but she was still on edge. Later, she started insisting that only one of us kids take the test because the results would be the same anyway, and we needed to sell the extra kits to save money. Now our parents have been languishing upstairs for an hour while we're downstairs trying to figure out who has the wrong father. Thank you all for the love and support. My sister's brother and I haven't decided whether we'll take the test. Regardless of the results, we will still love each other and our parents no matter what. Christmas is not ruined. My screw-up turned into a Christmas miracle. Turns out my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. A good friend of my mom's helped her through the darkest time in her life, and they fell in love, which led to the rest of our family. They had never told us how hard it was for my mom. Last night, she finally had the strength to share her stories and photos with us for the first time, and it genuinely brought us closer as a family. We'll never forget this Christmas. And yes, we're all looking forward to our results. Merry Christmas, everyone. I banged my cousin. It didn't actually happen today. It was last weekend. But today I finally pulled myself together and tried to process it. So I went out drinking with my girlfriend and ran into my younger cousin at a bar. We'd met once before and had a great time. My cousin invited a couple friends to the bar, then we hopped around to a few more places. I got wasted. At the last bar, I wasn't mixing cocktails anymore, just straight booze. We were about to head out, and my cousin's friends wanted to drive her home because she was smashed too. But my girlfriend was the DD and hadn't been drinking, so we offered my cousin our spare room for the night. Everyone agreed. Where could be safer than with family, right? Wrong? We got home and apparently everything was fine at first. I pieced some of this together later because I was out of it most of the time. My cousin went to the spare room and my girlfriend helped her get settled. Problems started a bit later when, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to leave the bedroom where I was with my girlfriend and head to my cousin's room. I barely remember anything except 2 details that probably don't matter here. Okay, one might matter. I remember she was enthusiastically pleasuring me, which, as you can imagine, was loud. Turns out after a while my girlfriend, wondering where the hell I'd gone, came out of the bedroom and, no, she didn't bust in or anything, but she heard sounds that were pretty fucking unambiguous and just left. She dumped me and I don't blame her. Either way, next morning I woke up with no memory. I'd already forgotten my girlfriend left. And I'm fucking lying naked next to my naked cousin. She was face down on something white that had smeared all over the sheets. Obviously, it was way too late to fix anything. Still half-baked, I tried to sneak back to my room, which was empty. That's how it went. My girlfriend didn't contact me all week, and I'm sure it's over, but I don't blame her. All I can hope now is that my family never finds out about this crap because I'll be so screwed. No, my cousin and I are not going to start seeing each other. It's insanely awkward, and she hasn't really said much about it either. Again, I don't blame her. I took my girlfriend's phone to scroll through photos. Truth is, this happened a few days ago, and I'm still not 100% sure I'm ready to talk about it, but whatever. I've been with my girlfriend about a year, and I can say with confidence she's the love of my life. In my eyes, she's perfect. We're perfect for each other. We're getting ready to move in together, and I've only got one wish, to start a family with her and spend the rest of my life together. Last week, we took a short trip, and when we got back, she handed me her phone to look through some photos. She went to the bathroom, and I had her phone. While I was scrolling, the gallery kind of jumped back to about a year and a half ago, the very start of the album. That's freaking... Anyway, I saw a couple photos I wasn't supposed to see. Pics of her and her previous boyfriend. The love of my life was trying to fit the biggest banana I've ever seen in my life in her mouth. With my extensive porn-watching experience, I can say I've never seen equipment like that anywhere. It was bigger than 2 Coke cans stacked, longer and thicker. Then I saw another thumbnail where she's staring in surprise and admiration. Comparing that gun to her forearm, I exited the gallery and acted like nothing happened. But I can't get those images out of my head. I've never been self-conscious about my size. In fact, if stats are to be believed, I'm well above average. But this nuked my self-esteem. We haven't had sex since. I can't focus at work. I wish I'd never seen those damn photos. I stuffed myself with weed edibles and then went to dinner with my in-laws. Recently, my wife, her parents, and I took a trip to Denver, Colorado. Coming from a state without legal weed, I was most excited to buy some glorious legal stuff. What could go wrong? First thing I did on arrival, after successfully ditching my in-laws, was drag my wife to the nearest shop. And oh my God, it was everything I'd dreamed of. Tons of different options, and a team of helpful bud tenders telling me about the strains. Looking for a mellow, full-body chill? Need something more energetic? Or just hoping for something light to take the edge off?
Yes, yes, and yes, I replied eagerly.
I was like a fat kid in a candy store. I ended up getting an eighth, note 3.5G, of each of 7 options. Looking back, if I learned anything, it's that my math and science teachers never taught me the basics, like what a function is, or how much weed a person can consume in a single weekend. Like I can tell you when 2 high-speed trains leaving different stations will meet or rattle off Avogadro's number, but apparently none of that matters for getting responsibly and efficiently stoned. And in that shop, I learned you can't smoke in public places, including our hotel. So before we left, I begged my wife to buy me some edibles I could munch until we found a place to toke. She was understandably shocked at how much we were buying. Unlike me, she went to private school and actually understands imperial units, but she agreed. We left the shop with a crap ton of flour, plus a small pack of innocent-looking ginger snap cookies. When we finally got back to the room, I opened them and found about a dozen tiny cookies the size of a coin. What the hell, Denver? Seeing the skepticism and hunger in my eyes, my wife warned me to take it easy and read the back of the package before trying one. Serving size, 1 to 2 cookie, I read to myself, nibbling micro bites off the edge like a giant chinchilla gnawing a sunflower seed. What savage eats only half a cookie and leaves the other half? So a second later, I popped the rest in my mouth. And when my wife turned away, I quickly downed 2 more. Maybe we don't have legal weed back home, but I regularly crush a whole sleeve of Oreos in one sitting. Your move, tiny ginger snaps. About 30 minutes later, we were in the back seat of her parents' rental heading to dinner. And that's when things went sideways. My stomach growled loud and angry. My wife shot me a probing look that seemed to ask, "Diarrhea?" Clutching my gut, I muttered that I was carsick. "You didn't eat a whole cookie, did you?" She asked, 10% concerned for me and 90% pissed. "Of course not," I said, avoiding eye contact for the rest of the drive. A couple minutes later, we were getting out and heading into some trendy farm-to-table place. I don't remember how I got to my seat or how I even looked at the menu, but I remember the concerned look on the server's face when he asked if I was okay. "Get it together, man," I told myself. But my wife's sudden groan made me think I'd said it to the waiter. The spiral began. The waiter gave an understanding nod, took our orders, then headed to the next table. As soon as he left, my wife stared daggers at me, ready to tear me apart. I started to worry. I could feel I was fucked. "You're sweating all over your face," she said with equal parts pity and disgust. Not knowing what to do, I grabbed a napkin and dabbed my cheeks, nose, neck, chin, and forehead. At that point, my mother-in-law looked at me with concern. "Are you okay?" she asked kindly. Yeah, the food's a bit spicy, I replied, quickly realizing we had literally just ordered and there was nothing on the table except a bread basket. My wife kicked me under the table to get my attention. Bathroom. Now, she hissed. Pull yourself together. I reluctantly stood up and headed there. After a couple splashes near the urinal, I started to pee. One of the worst parts of these tiny ginger demons is how time detaches from reality. While I was peeing, I got this terrifying feeling I'd been at it for like an hour, and my wife must be pacing the restaurant worried about me. Deep down, I knew that was nonsense. I've peed my whole life, sometimes multiple times a day. I've probably done it over 50,000 times, and it usually takes less than a minute. So if it usually takes under 60 seconds and I feel halfway done, that means I've probably been here about 30 seconds, right? But the dude at the next urinal didn't answer me. Instead, midstream, he recoiled like a frightened penguin. I tried and failed to break eye contact. Finished, I splashed my face again and went back, apologizing to the table for taking so long, just in case my math was off. I tried to chat with my father-in-law, but I was too high to follow the topic, or to avoid bursting into laughter at the worst moment. I decided the safest plan was to nod occasionally and drink more water. Nothing cures mental fatigue like water, right? To my wife's horror, I stood up, grabbed my water glass, and reached it toward the server who, unfortunately, was across the restaurant. He was very kind, came over, and said he'd keep my glass full of ice water the whole dinner. He also suggested that if the rolls were not too spicy for me, I should eat one or two so I was not sitting there on an empty stomach. Smart guy. However, after I ate all the bread on the table and drank 3 glasses of water, I started to worry I needed real food to counter the rising paranoia from those tiny ginger devils. Think I should call the waiter again and ask why it's taking so long? I asked my wife, trying to be helpful. Dude, we ordered literally 3 freaking minutes ago. At that point, my wife lost all composure. How many cookies did you eat? She demanded. Whoa, easy there, Queen Mada, I said, a bit terrified of her rage. I ate a few, but keep it down. I don't want your parents to know how I am right now. Oh, really? They're 3 feet away, like they know everything. I looked up and, for the first time, noticed my in-laws had just been staring at me for what felt like an eternity.